We will not copyright or trademark that. We do not have the rights to this at all. Please do not sue us. Thank you.
Welcome to These Unprecedented Gays, featuring Joe Granelli and Paul Smith. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review wherever you stream your podcasts. Check us out on Instagram at tugayspod and email us at tugayspod@yahoo.com. We hope you enjoy.
Ready?
It's our 150th episode, everyone! Woo! And of course, no Joe this week.
Seems fitting.
But we're These Unprecedented Gays. I'm Paul, and I'm here with Nick and Andy.
Yes, you are.
We don't get to say our names?
Oh, okay.
No,
okay, let's try this again.
No,
Rewind, remix. Hi, I'm Paul.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Andy.
And we're These Unprecedented Gays.
This is a new
Joe.
Format. You know, Joe can stay in Cleveland.
Yeah. I haven't thought about should I call him and try to
Oh, that would be fun.
maybe we'll do a call.
No, he doesn't. He was uninterested in trying to make it work.
He was.
We did offer him that, and he came up with 100 excuses why that would not work for him.
You know, not to make this about Joe, but you once you live with somebody for a while, you learn that that's their way of saying, "I'm good."
Yeah.
He starts to ask a lot of questions. He does it with his friends. I'm like, why don't you just tell him you don't want to hang out? But because he'll be like, well, what's the dinner going to be? How far away is it? Is it dark? What shoes do I need to wear?
Is the food salty?
Yeah.
What kind of drinks do they got?
So I kind of knew it, and I was playing him a little bit
love that.
on that
Yeah.
during dinner, because I was like, well, you know, we could do it another day.
Yeah.
I could tell right away he had no desire to do it. I was like, the time zone difference actually plays in your favor. It would only be 8 o'clock at night.
I will say in his defense, he seems to be a little stressed right now with the job.
With the job?
So it might have actually not worked out. So there we go.
It sounds like he has to go there to fix some things, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what he said.
Because Cleveland rocks, you know?
Obviously they don't. So, if they did, then he would
They're
have
rocky, not rocking.
Did you guys ever watch the Drew Carey show?
Oh, yeah, I watch it all the time.
With, Mimi? I couldn't remember the other girl's name. It's she wasn't the girlfriend, right?
It didn't really matter. Mimi and Drew were the only ones that counted. So.
I loved Mimi. She was the best.
It was just I liked her, but I just didn't like her makeup and everything. But I was but now looking at Trixie Mattel and all these other drag queens, I'm like, oh, I get it.
She was
Tammy Faye Baker, she was the original drag queen.
Yeah. And, and we had somebody walk into the office, makeup full on, she did it herself and doesn't have friends. So I was just like, okay, that's awesome.
That's how I would.
She was painting for the back of the house.
Yes. Or the front of the house, because some of those people can't see with their cataracts.
I got my eyes checked every year because of my contact lenses. And last year, the guy that checked them was like, you're starting to get cataracts. You might want to consider. And I'm like, what?
You didn't tell me this.
No, because it was bullshit. I didn't believe it. So when I got them checked again this year, I was like, hey, are the cataracts getting a different person? Or I'm like, are the cataracts getting worse? Should I think? He's like, you don't have cataracts. Your eyes are clear.
Oh.
You're age appropriate.
Time to sue.
I know. Jesus.
This is a scam.
All right. So this is where I usually ask Joe, how was his week? So you guys, how were your weeks?
Well, we got to celebrate Andy's birthday.
I know we did.
So,
we celebrated all weekend.
Yeah, you did.
My XT first birthday.
I always love a good invite for one of you guys' birthday parties. So they're always... And the place we went was amazing. The Whaling Bar in La Jolla.
Yes. It's a new restaurant to the restaurant group that I work for. And it was great. And they treated us really well. They gave us a bunch of
they did.
Unprecedented.
Dishes. It was unprecedented what we got. They didn't charge us for any of the food.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow.
I was like, what? Thank you.
And they charged us for all the alcohol.
Yeah.
So we balanced off. But...
Well, what was one of your favorite? I love the little butter whales.
Yeah, with the carrot walnut bread. Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, I will say the I
I love the Italian beans, the charred
The
Italian,
Romano beans,
everything
the Ray
was good.
Romano beans,
and they were different. Like something I wouldn't have ever thought to order.
Yeah, definitely. And I was like, I really liked their pate because I thought their pate was super smooth. And
That's
delicious.
all
The
you,
liver and
Paul. That
onions.
is all you. But did you know Joe's dad actually was like, "This is good."
Did he?
He liked it.
He liked
He liked it.
Yeah.
He really liked it.
He did.
But you ate some too.
I try. I mean, I will always try it, and then I'll be like, "That the rest is for you. Thank you very much."
But Joe loved it because he's
Yeah,
the pate eater now. Like,
is a pate eater.
His palate is more refined now.
After those,
through
the
us.
chicken livers that you can get at, or the hearts at the the Brazilian restaurant.
Oh, I said the chicken hearts.
The chicken
I
hearts.
love chicken hearts.
Oh, no.
Oh, God,
Sorry,
you guys
we're
gotta
on
be
the
more.
same page
You gotta be
there.
more adventurous with your food.
It's not being adventurous; it just doesn't taste good. It's a weird texture.
Oh, and I thought the polenta with the eggplant.
That was
Caponata?
good, yes.
That was really good. But that was more for Joe's dad because he really wanted.
So we
like,
went to dinner with Joe's mom and dad. It's
Right.
the first time we really spent time with them. We met his mom once after a James Core show.
Yes,
I was wondering if either ever has been like a time
Very
to sit down
briefly.
and like.
But we'd never
Hang
spent
out.
time with them.
Yeah.
And her dad I've never met.
That's
His
because
dad I've
Joe's
never met.
embarrassed of us and doesn't want us to meet anybody in his
It's-
family. So
I think it's actually terrified that they're going to tell all the family secrets.
And we learned good things about Joe.
I
during the
know.
process.
we did not know that Joe knows how to play the piano.
He's quite
does.
an accomplished penis.
He is.
He loves pianists.
Yeah, it's and he plays. What was the is it the
He
entertainer?
was playing he was playing the Maple Leaf Rag.
Yeah,
Bum, 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 bum,
and he
bum,
looks
bum,
so
bum,
young
bum.
and.
And very focused on what he was doing.
But
I
he
just
was really good.
yeah.
I was distracted by his baggy shorts. The baggy cargo shorts.
We'll post that on.
We should.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
because I sent it
should.
to you all. So because Joe's dad sent it to me,
Right, and we have it now.
which now you all have it. But
Yeah, no, that was cool. And then what else did we
And that
learn?
was with Joe's dad's blessing.
Yes.
it was.
And then what else?
We learned about him and his brother fighting.
Right, and we learned that he liked to put he would put his SpaghettiOs on top of his head.
Oh
he
yeah.
did
He didn't
that.
want to eat them.
He didn't want to
Yeah.
eat them.
Their family is very. I mean, maybe you guys have similar. Maybe we should have a family episode about this. But like, I have a very different relationship with my folks and family. But they're all like, is it the Italian in them? Like they're all just in each other's
Probably.
business.
So, and I know you said, in the past that he calls his mom
Yeah.
almost every day, right?
Several times a week. Yeah.
Yeah, and when my mom was alive, I talked to her once a week, but regularly. Like on Tuesday, that was my day to call her. You know,
So I'm the asshole here because
No.
no, my siblings now we'll talk and catch up once in a blue moon, and I mean it could be months, it could be a birthday or
Yeah.
a holiday, but then once in a while we'll text, and everybody text chains, but not like every day or even every week.
Yeah.
you know.
And I'll call my sister maybe once a week, but then she's like, "I'm here with mom," and that's how I talk to my mom. So it's
Okay.
like,
Well, there you
okay,
go.
You know.
The buffer.
But it's like,
Well, when I call my mom, usually there's some grandkids around, so there's always like
oh, so she's always busy. So you
she's
don't have to
always
talk
busy.
Too long.
Yes, you don't have to talk too long. And I've talked to my mom about this, and it's her fear is that her mom called her a lot, and it was back like no cell phone days, and she would call, and my mom would talk to her for 30, 40 minutes a day.
Jesus.
And so she's worried that it's just she's gone to the extreme where she's just like, they'll call me if they need me. And,
Yeah.
So
Well, it's just like I talked to my friend Grace at work, and like she calls her mom every morning as she's going to work, and I'm just like, what do you have to talk
Like,
about?
every day.
It's just like when she also calls her husband on the way home as she's driving, and I'm like, you're gonna go home and see him.
yeah, that's
Like-
that's like prime podcast or like album. Like that's me time in the car.
Right.
I'm not calling anybody.
But that was for my mom. That was like a half an hour drive to work was the perfect time for a conversation. So Tuesday morning, my time was like middle of her day because we're a 3-hour time difference.
Okay.
So that was our catch up.
There you
and
go.
we talk every week. But she got older. She would tell the same stories over and over again, or sometimes she'd tell you the story twice or 3 times, and the other siblings had no idea.
Oh, jeez.
So it was just fun. I mean, but it became
Those are good memories.
And my relationship with her was not always solid. Like there were times when we were not getting along. She had very specific expectations that we did not that I did not live up to. Let's put it that way.
Oh.
But you'll still have those conversations as memories forever. So
Yeah.
And I mean, it got better. Like it was bad for like young adulthood. She had a hard time. We were the first people in the family to get married and to have kids, and I was the first one to move away. So she had a really hard time dealing with like you're not coming for so and so's birthday or to this wedding, and it was like it's a 4.5 hour drive each way. So no,
no,
we're not.
No, we're not doing that.
Absolutely not. And then so we went to the zoo as well.
Okay. Oh yeah, she said that's the first time that she's been to the zoo, and all the years that Joe has lived here.
Yeah,
this is the first time and visited. That's the first time they went to the zoo.
Oh, yeah. It was a nice day for her.
It was a beautiful day, and we do it. They were on the same page as both Joe and myself, which is go close to when they open, stay for a couple hours, do like a walk around, and when the kids start to melt down, it's the cue to go. Which is usually by about 11:30, 12 is when the first wave of children start to melt down.
Yeah.
And that's when we're like, cool, we're done. And then we left and went at lunch. So I'm like, as long as that's when we go to the zoo, it's like, get there early, stay until the kids melt down, then you're out.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's a lot of walking involved in the park, and I'm just like...
And it gets hotter throughout the day. So if you're there in the morning, that's my pro tip for y'all.
We used to love when we had a membership because you didn't feel like pressure to see everything in one trip. So you just go and walk through a section you hadn't been to in a while.
Well, and the earlier you go and the cooler it is, the better chance you have of seeing the animals active.
Yes.
So always keep that in mind. People, a little tip for you when you go to the zoo. Go when it's cooler and more shade and stuff, because then the animals will be more active, because none of them, just like you, want to be outside in the sun when it's hot.
And when the kids are having meltdowns.
It is fun to like go there and, well, or it's one of those like, oh yeah, I live in San Diego where I can do this whenever I want, when it's like these big groups of people have come from all around the world, or they went to Disney and like they're doing a Disney SeaWorld and the zoo type of thing, and like this was their destination, and I'm like, oh wow, I get to just go home and sleep in my own bed here. But
well, and my favorite thing is, like, I like to go and try to see if I can find any animals having sex. Like, I just want to see if somebody's mounting somebody else.
And we saw it at the Wild Animal Park. Remember, the hippos were very
active. Rhinos were doing those, because the rhino was out there just, on top of another one. We actually saw a little bit of it when we were in at the regular zoo with the monkeys. Yeah. So, and it's like, I always try to find the animals that, like, Wild Kingdom people, let's see it.
Hot monkey love.
Yeah, it was fun to have them, and then now they're on their way to Vegas. They're gonna do the Grand Canyon, walk over.
And they're staying at Venetian.
The Venetian. So
I know.
Yeah, I love seeing them. Like Joe's parents are in so many ways. Like they work because they are like yin and yang. And so it's fun to see just like Sue and how she is, and then Mike is completely different. And
it's interesting because I felt like I wanted to make sure that I was very cognizant of them being there and making sure that I talked to them.
You did,
because it was like it's easy for the four of us to like go off on our own little tangents and talk about our stuff and the things that we're interested in and stuff like that. So I just didn't want them to feel left out.
No, they loved
the conversations.
They felt so privileged that they got to go to like this really awesome, fancy, exclusive dinner.
Well, and when you walk in, it's like you're a celebrity because that's always a great thing to go with.
Paul's literally behind. He's in the kitchen. Like,
I know. All these like servers are walking over, and they're like,
"Well, he walks in a restaurant we've never been in before, and he's like, hey Nick, hey so and so, I'll give you a hug."
I just go, I'm gonna go say hi to the people in the kitchen. They're like, okay, and I like walk back there. I'm like, what's up, yay, Nick, yay!
This is why I'm also excited to go to Cucina again with you. With my friend
Taylor.
Christy. Because Paul will be the celebrity there.
I'm like, Taylor, come out
here. Just come out and talk to us.
Yeah. So we didn't do much this weekend, but we went out for brunch with some friends, and then I made Andy dinner on Saturday, which was his actual birthday.
It looked so good.
I will say, that béarnaise sauce came out like perfect. Like it was really good. It was a nice consistency,
and the steaks were great.
Yeah, the steaks were great because like we used the sous vide on the oven.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
He's trying to kill me and collect the insurance, basically.
Hell
He gave
yeah.
me a cholesterol hell.
No, because he loves when I make béarnaise sauce for his.
I know, and I love a
steaks.
filet mignon with
Yeah.
I can't remember what béarnaise is made out of. Is it
Think
eggs?
of like a hollandaise, so it's butter and eggs, but add to it like sherry, shallots, and lemon.
You put sherry in it?
So what you do is you have to reduce down. You can do sherry vinegar, white wine vinegar, and then peppercorns, tarragon, and some shallots. And you reduce that down for a bit, and then you put it through a sieve and get all the liquid out. And then you put that in with a couple of egg yolks, a little bit of water, and then you get that, like you beat that really for a while.
Really complicated.
For 5 minutes at least.
Beat it for 5 minutes?
Beat it for 5 minutes continuously so you get volume. And then you put it over a bain-marie, and you keep whisking as you pour in melted butter for about another 5 to 10 minutes.
I see so many points of failure along this way.
Oh,
that this is why I can never make a béarnaise
It
sauce.
is not easy
It's
because it's like
temperamental.
sometimes it can break.
Yeah.
You can cook the eggs too quickly. You may not get the consistency you want. And then at the end you add fresh tarragon into it and then serve it.
Well, the pictures made it look amazing.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I must say, my culinary degree came in handy that time.
Well, that reminds me, the bread that you gave us during your birthday,
sourdough.
Joe didn't get any of it because I ate all of it. It was so
It
good.
came out good this time.
Yeah.
I have a good, and I had more starters, so I may make another couple of.
You guys are like the triple threat food couple. There's only two of you, so I don't know what's the third part. I don't know. Baxter.
I mean, other than that, that was our weekend.
We did a class number 2 for Baxter's training.
Yes, he did pretty good on that one. Except that he once he gets around other dogs, he tends to not listen as well as when he's just by himself. So, but then I guess the day before or something, he started getting a little willful during his walk, so he wasn't listening to Andy as much.
Yeah, he was like, "I've had enough of this. I was doing it all week, but it's Saturday.
It's like, I need a break.
I'm over this." So he was just like pulling all over the place because our task last week was don't pull on the leash.
Oh, okay.
But now we have lay down and we have heel, and he's doing really good with those.
Where is our little intern?
He's at the beach.
Oh, okay. So he's having his day off at the...
Yeah, it's just how he is.
I guess I didn't do anything last week.
Oh my god, we do the same exact thing because we're together.
You did not have a battery die while you're at the park. And have to walk all the way.
Yes. Okay, you can tell
I
that
took
story.
Baxter to the park yesterday, like at 3 p.m, and I got back in my car and my battery was dead. And I didn't have cables, so it was like, all right. So from Morley Field to here is like 2 miles. I walked it.
It's a nice walk.
Advil is giving him life.
Advil.
Yeah,
is gonna
Advil
be-
was
Literally.
giving me life last night. I by 9 o'clock I was like, I need to go lay down.
Yeah. I mean, you feel good. Like, the walk is accomplished. Then you get home and you're like, what did I just do?
Yeah, I was not a happy fella.
Baxter probably loved it.
He was tired because we had already played at the park for an hour.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And then walked, so he was tired, and I didn't really need to be away from work, so that wasn't convenient. But
Yeah, I mean...
And I was at work, so I couldn't
So then did you go and
Up and leave.
did you go after work and then jump it?
yeah, we jumped
Yeah.
in and brought it home, and now I've got a new battery.
I feel so butch.
Good for you.
I don't know
did
why.
you show up? You sat in the
Andy,
car.
I know. Andy's a butch one.
You do you feel butch because you showed up in the car?
Right, yeah. And I'm like,
He pulled a little lever to open the front hood. When
I'm
I
like,
told him
where
where
is
it was,
I was like, where is it? I can't find it. And he's like, it's under there. And I'm like, it's not here.
I was like, just reach all the way to the left. There's a little curly thing.
man.
And then I sit in the driver's side and I'm like, do you need help with anything? He's like, no. And I'm like, okay. He's like, just push
As
on
you're
the gas.
listening to your tunes.
I know, but I'm also like, I don't know why I get scared when somebody has to jump a car and they're using my car to jump it because they're like, push on the gas. Is it going to blow up? I really don't want it to do
The only
that.
reason for pushing out of the gas is you have an electric car. It's a hybrid, so if you just let it
Where
out,
So
did
it
you-
turns off.
Where did you get that irrational fear?
Just an irrational fear of mine.
That's crazy. One day when I said it's like, oh, you're silly, that won't ever happen, and then watch in the news, local man tries to help jump a car and blows
Good
up.
Samaritan blows up in his car because he pushed on the
He
gas.
crosses the positive and negative. And
Right. He crossed streams, which then created the explosion.
Jeez.
So that means it's time for Mouth to Mouth without Joe. Mouth to Mouth resuscitation. All right. So what's giving you life, Andy? Besides ibuprofen.
So ibuprofen definitely. My birthday was giving me life. It was great to get all that attention. And so I do have a thing that's giving me life, and it's a Facebook group called Bearded Bakers. And it's a bunch of bakers, posting things that they make. And they're all really good, cool things. But I posted a few things on it, and it was like 100 people said they liked it and gave me feedback. And, but it was like, all right, this is really nice. A very affirming kind of thing. It's the good part of Facebook. So
there you go.
That's been giving me life. And then what else? What have we been watching? The Traders UK ended, but it was a great ending.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, he loved that show. We finally watched the finale, so that was a good finale.
And they don't do a wrap up. They don't do in the US, because a lot of them are celebrities. They do Andy Cohen sits down with them and talks about
for the reunion,
debriefs and breaks it all down. They don't need to do that in the UK. So it's very.
I really wish they would, because I want to see people talking about how they felt during certain things.
There was a massive no spoilers. There was a massive disappointment and mislead for one of the girls who really trusted one of the guys, and
I would just like to know where people stood with people, if they were still friends and stuff like that. I did look up some people to see if they were friends and stuff. So so
Traders UK is not Alan Cumming. Then it's a different.
No, it's a different one. Her name is Claudia, and she does a lot of hosting in the UK for different shows. So she's amazing. I love her.
She used to do Great British Bake Off.
Do you guys have to do the VPN thing to log in to watch this on?
No, it's on Peacock.
Oh, it's on Peacock. The UK version is.
The UK version,
Okay.
the Australia version, and now the New Zealand version.
It's turning into drag for drag race.
We're starting to watch the New Zealand one next, I think.
Oh, gosh.
Down under.
Well, should we watch the Australia one? Because we've seen the first season and the second season.
But it might be fun to watch the New Zealand first season and see how it compares.
Oh, okay.
Before we immerse in the second seasons.
Okay.
All those traders in there raise up lights.
Well, what's great... Rise Up Light.
Rise up lights.
Mind your head. Mind your head. That's when you were getting in the van. And I said, mind your head.
And I did.
H-I-D.
And you got a bruise.
I hit my head.
Your head.
So what's giving you life, Nick?
I have a couple of things. I'll keep it not short. No. The big one for me is springtime has arrived here in San Diego.
Finally.
And ish. But what that means is for the last couple of days, especially today, it was even on the drive over, 3 or 4 not encounters. There's just a lot of hot dudes without shirts on going for runs.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what's giving me life, is all of the beautiful men out running without a shirt on.
But I wish they would run without a shirt or underwear on.
That's not good for running. Too much bouncing.
That's chafing.
That's not my problem.
So there was a web series short 20-minute episode thing, and it was a gay bunch of friends in New York, but one of the first opening scene was springtime in New York, and they're just seeing all these gorgeous people wearing short shorts and no shirt. It was just great.
Yeah, and you're like, God, anyway, it's just magic happens around springtime in San Diego, and they're probably all going to the beach, but whatever, I'm here for it. The other one is, I actually really love 2 songs on the Beyonce's new album. I love Yaya's,
Okay.
and I love the Riverdance song. Have you listened to this album
No, I
in
haven't
full
listened
yet?
to the album yet.
Okay, so it was one of those some of the songs where it's taken me a while to kind of just digest it as an album.
Yeah.
And I love it more and more that I listen to it, and then I didn't realize actually how long I missed part 2 of the album, the other half, and this song called Yaya, which is fantastic, and Riverdance. And then, so yeah, if you haven't listened to Beyonce's new album yet, that's definitely been giving me life. Last is, I watched a movie called Argyle on Apple TV.
Oh, the Henry Cavill
It is
movie.
so good. It's
Okay.
smart and clever, and yeah, I would definitely recommend watching it. Joe didn't want to watch it with me, which is why he's out of town, so I was like, I'm going to watch this while you're gone. And it is clever, witty. The cast is amazing. And just a really clever take on kind of like a spy. Plus, Catherine O'Hara is in it.
Oh, okay.
And she keeps popping up in like things after Schitt's Creek. I love it. But yeah, so she's in it. And
That is something I want to watch, so it's on my list.
definitely, it's worth the watch. It's a fun little popcorn flick.
I think there's only 3 TV series where everyone on the series won an Emmy. All the principals won an Emmy.
Schitt's Creek?
Schitt's Creek's the most recent one, and Will and Grace is another one. I'm trying to remember maybe American Family, Modern Family,
Or Seinfeld?
I don't know, but that was like one of those fun facts I heard on a podcast.
Interesting. Okay.
So what's bringing you life this week, Paul?
So we are watching One Day on Netflix. That's a good one because it's like about these 2 people who meet in university and uni in Edinburgh.
In Korea.
No, that's Past Lives.
I'm confused.
But and then you get each episode is them another year, whether they're together or separate or something. They just seem to always go back to each other, kind of thing, like as friends or whatever. So it's a good. I like it so far. We've watched the first couple episodes, and I'm like, okay, this is good.
Wasn't that also a movie with Anne Hathaway? Same premise, same characters.
I don't know.
Dexter and Emma. I'm looking at IMDb. One Day, 2011, with Jim Sturgis, who did. He's the Beatles movie guy, and Anne Hathaway.
Oh.
So maybe they've now turned it into a series on
Maybe-
Netflix.
yeah, it's a really cool rom-com kind of series.
I'll watch it.
I like it.
And the guy who plays the lead is gorgeous.
Yeah,
He
I
looks.
guess.
Oh my god, the preview. Yeah,
If you like that kind of thing, I guess.
If you like that kind of thing. Yeah.
he's a blonde man. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that later. And maybe he's a Mormon.
Probably. And then, yeah, I think... I'm trying to think if there's something else that's giving me life. I mean...
We were watching the Korean, I mean the Taiwan.
So we're watching this one movie, and we only got halfway through it.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
The one, Brother Son.
Yeah, Brother Son.
Oh, Brother Son, that was my last week's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. But I still am. That's still giving me life.
I need to watch.
That.
Yes, I need to watch
But
that.
did you watch Past Lives?
I started it.
Okay.
I will finish it because I've enjoyed it, but it was a little slower for me.
It's
It's very slow.
And so I was like, I wanted to be in the right headspace, and I was tired, and I want to give it the energy. Yeah, they really are.
They really have chemistry.
Yeah,
you can understand how this
can't wait.
relationship endured.
I think I'll be another. I'll
it's
very watch
very-
that tonight because it's another non-Joe movie.
Yeah, it's a very character driven. It is very very what's the word I'm trying to say? Like a passion project, but the director likes to take this like very slow feel. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like All of Us Strangers, but
Which I finally just watched.
and I did not enjoy it.
At the end, I'm like, oh my god, what?
That one was really slow.
It was
for
a
me.
very slow. And in fact, actually, this might be bad, but I kind of like.
No.
I sped it up a little bit because I just needed to go a little faster.
Yeah, it was very much like a Fellini film where like there are these-
Indulgent.
indulgent.
That's a great one. There you go. Yeah.
Yes. So Past Lives does have some of those moments where it feels a little indulgent because they tend to spend a little bit more time on one shot in some aspects, or they let a moment go a little long.
Yes. Indulgence is
But
definitely. right
I
with that.
like the movie and I like the character, so we're going to finish watching that tonight too. I think.
There are some films that I've watched where like that. Sorry, the film student in me. I love kind of like that. Like you just get a moment to just kind of sit and be in that space. So sometimes that indulgence is fine, but I feel like more times than not, as audience members are like, okay, get on with it, please.
Well, and it's like sometimes it feels like okay, if you would cut some of those indulgent moments out, it probably would only be a 60-minute film instead of a 90-minute film. So maybe that's why. But it's also like when I watch Black Clover. Like, I love animes, but they tend to repeat themselves a lot. And I feel like if you took out a lot of the repetition, it would probably be like an hour and a half long for those 30 episodes.
Yeah.
And it's like you could just watch it as one movie.
So you mentioned it's like a Joe, not a Joe movie. I started watching something and I was like, oh, maybe Paul will want to watch it. So I'm like, Paul, do you want to watch this? It's called A Young Doctor's Notebook, and it stars Dan Radcliffe from Harry Potter. And I'm starting to explain it to him, and halfway through I realized he said no interest. I was like, it's about a surgeon in the 1800s that gets addicted to morphine.
Was it his body language, or did he stop making eye contact?
I was like, this is historical, kind of serious comedy.
Oh.
And I was like, no, but do you want to watch this one about two Taiwanese people who over 24 years meet each other, and then like
who wins out between the two of you in that? Like, is it usually like a Paul choice or an Andy choice?
I don't think there's a winner or loser, because there's a lot of things where we'll give it a try, and if partway through it's not working, I'm like, you're gonna have to finish this one on your own.
Yeah,
and he'll be happy to do that, or we'll both be like, nah, I'm not into this.
Or we'll both have watched it all the way, and we're both like, the fuck did we just watch?
We can't get those 2 hours.
Do you guys turn movies off?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We still have not finished.
We still haven't finished Oppenheimer.
Oh, really?
But not. I want to finish that one.
That's a long. Yeah.
We haven't. We never finished Dune.
No.
And Dune 2 is almost now available.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch Dune 2 either.
Oh, I will.
Like, it doesn't interest me.
Did they take off on Netflix? Because I thought that there used to be a way that you could always watch shows on like 2x or like 1.5.
Oh, like fast forward them?
Yeah, like just so like I listen to podcasts sometimes that I do 1.2 or 1.5.
Listeners are encouraged to listen to our podcast
at normal speed.
Can you imagine how sometimes you and Joe get going? Like, I need to go. I need to go to 0.75 for some of that stuff.
I can just think of Joe when he laughs and kind of cackles, and that would be like really fast, high pitched.
I do this with audiobooks too, because sometimes there's this weird indulgence that happens, and I just want them to just get on with it. So I'll listen to it 1.2, 1.5.
Oh my God, that's just so our society, though, when you think about it, because we've made things so convenient and we feel like our time is so precious that we just want things to happen.
I just want it to happen, please. Like, get to it.
So I just listened on Audible. Audible now has some, like, I guess they're amateur works, but the narration is done by AI. And I listened to a few just to hear, like,
the voice,
what it would be like. It's actually surprisingly real.
That's crazy to me.
And then every once in a while you get a word that's not real, or the inflection is way off. Like an actor would have done it way differently.
Yeah.
But very listenable. There's just weird pauses sometimes.
And we were watching Graham Norton like on YouTube and stuff, like some like they do compilations and stuff. And I did not know this, but Matthew McConaughey was the voice of a sleep app.
What?
Like where they would play like soft music to help you go to sleep, and he would read to you. And like Michael Bublé bought this like app, and Matthew McConaughey talked to him, and like they played a little bit of it, and I must say, like, he does have a voice for
Does
it.
he? I don't know if his voice twang is what I picture as like putting me to sleep.
As weird as it is, he has this nice baritone sound to his voice.
It's called Calm is the app.
I've done Calm before. I didn't know Matthew McConaughey was on the...
You can fall asleep to Matthew McConaughey. And he's got that deep richness.
But like, I think it's also kind of expensive for the app, though. I think like you probably get the app for free, but the buy-in to Matthew McConaughey is like $80.
Well, really? Like I wonder too if like, do they pay Matthew McConaughey a flat fee, or is it like every time somebody's... Oh, I thought that was going to be...
try to pull it up.
Oh, Matthew. I can't even... I'm not Joe. I can't do like an impression of Matthew McConaughey right now.
All right.
Insert Matthew McConaughey Joe voice right now.
Okay.
But he tells like a bedtime story.
Right.
It just puts you to sleep.
And I was like, wow, that's actually really good. So, all right, okay. So, a couple of things that have been happening around the world and pop culture and stuff like that. And I wanted to kind of talk about it and stuff. But the big thing was I had watched a video on TikTok of this woman talking about why Mormons look alike. And it was very much this like blonde, blue-eyed kind of look to it. And you are actually you would be a poster child for Mormonism.
Yes, I know.
He's
Textbook. Blonde hair, blue eye.
But and I was like listening to this woman. It's because like
Hitler's
when
youth.
Mormons moved to Utah, that was their community, and so it was all the same people. Basically, a lot of the same gene pool.
Are you calling me incestuous?
No, but like
inbred.
Inbred, that's the word. Yeah, not incestuous.
But like,
thanks, Andy.
But like, they only had their own people to pull from, because when you got married, you could only marry another Mormon if you wanted to be married in the temple,
Which was probably your cousin.
right? Or
But what's weird is if you look at other communities like that, like the Amish or the Mennonites in eastern U.S., they kind of look funky. British people, like in the higher end of aristocracy, because you were always marrying other royalty, like they had the same challenges, and people started looking pretty funky. But for Mormons, it's kind of working for them.
Yeah, it's that magic touch,
but like then she was talking about like
gold plates.
That's why Mormons are overly friendly, because to build their community, they have to get people to convert. And that's how they kind of like expand the gene pool a little bit, because it's like you, like I said, are like you're basically Elder Price,
totally,
and like, but Steve is Mormon, and he's like Elder Cunningham. It's like he doesn't fit that mold.
Oh, I love that, because he would totally say yes to that too.
Right, but he just doesn't fit that mold of what what like a poster child for Mormonism would be.
Yeah,
because he's like tall, dark haired, glasses, all this kind of stuff. Like, definitely not what they want to put in the brochure.
If you do AI generative stuff, for some reason I've seen this, because I still have Mormon things around me, right? And so if you do like AI to generate a Mormon family, it's all blonde hair, blue eye people in front of the temple. It's really funny. So even AI thinks that is what Mormon,
essential Mormon.
So I did find it very interesting that she was talking about it, because she's an ex-Mormon herself. Yeah. And so she was like, this is why they all look alike. And I was like, wow.
There's probably some truth to that.
Yeah, and then she was like also talking about how like she couldn't drink coffee and all this other stuff,
which is interesting, because like my mom was Catholic. Her family has darker hair, so different features. But then like most of my family, my siblings, that's not true. I have a brother that doesn't have blonde hair. He's got dark hair, but for the rest of us, we're all pretty light. He's the black sheep, Jonathan.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
that's
got
crazy.
Those Catholic genes.
I wonder if it's because your dad is Mormon, and like the gene pool has been.
Well, and I will say
that blonde gene is so strong.
When we used to have family reunions before my crazy aunt became the Rush Limbaugh, what's the word? Loyalist.
Yeah,
just unapologetically one of the worst people, and I hope she hears that. But we all stopped kind of doing that, these family get-togethers. Anyway, we have a big picture of all of the stones, and we all look like a bunch of Mormons.
Was it in front of the temple?
No, it was in front of the cabin. Like at a wedding? Yeah, that's like the... No, isn't that crazy? It's crazy, though.
I've been to people's houses, and they always have their wedding shots in front of the tabernacle and locally, or the temple.
The temple.
It's fascinating.
I used to do a lot of photo shoots in front of those temples, and the kissy faces, and the like. It's funny because you're like, let's dip, or let's do like some like crazy kiss photos, and you're on like temple ground, and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. Maybe less tongue on temple ground, but.
Really?
They're all horny. They're like they're
ready.
They are ready to go and seal the deal.
Well, they've been waiting.
I've always wondered about that, because like, what if it's like you find out, which is I think happens a lot, like there's no compatibility and now you're sealed by Mormon definition for all time and eternity.
Oh, well, then you're going to have to make sure there's some kind of, like, maybe just do butt stuff. I don't know.
I feel maybe that's why, like, they had polygamists were like, hey, I need a little variety with...
Yeah. With what's going on, you know.
Did you ever watch that TV series Big Love on HBO?
Yeah, I loved it.
Did it? I mean, I know
50% was absurd.
Yeah.
50% was like had some foundational.
It's an offshoot. It's just
but it's also kind of like a what if, because even if Mormons don't support polygamy directly anymore, there still are factions.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's those folks are like, because even the show is very much like these people aren't a part of like the main. So they do a good. Big Love does a good job of like they are also not. They're ostracized by.
Yeah, part of the tension of the show is that they're not part
correct.
of normal Mormon.
Yeah.
Like they have to keep this a secret even among their community.
My favorite though of that show is like the parents that live off in the boonies that they always go and see like.
The compound.
On the compound. Yes, the compound. I should rewatch Big Love. I really love that show.
I'm kind of on that thing. I'm just thinking I might enjoy it too.
Oh.
My favorite episode, though, is when the main character realizes, like, it's a lot of work to manage 3 relationships. And every night he was going to a different person's house and needing to perform. So he started doing, like, Viagra or some other, erectile dysfunction medicine. But I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of pressure. Like you have to be there because each person gets their turn once a week, basically.
And they want that D.
Or twice a week.
Because they went without it for so long.
Yeah, for a week.
or 3 days.
Or 3 days, I don't know. that is interesting because they make it seem like, well, maybe they do, I don't know. Mormons have that much sex. Well, they have a lot of kids, so they probably are having a lot of sex, but...
Well, you mentioned about like the inbreeding and stuff. In Catholicism, that was a problem in certain like European countries because it was very much discouraged to like marry, if you were Italian, to marry Irish, or if you were Italian to marry a German Catholic. Like you stayed within your kind of ethnicity.
Not to go too far down the Mormon rabbit hole, but I grew up thinking that the reason that polygamy was really like, there was like abuse or all that too, but when you have this like group of people, it's the idea. It's like, how do we survive as like a religion? We have to populate as quick as possible,
right?
Yeah.
So all y'all girls, you got to get pregnant, and we're gonna just hook you up with a bunch of dudes and make it like we want as many as you as possible because that's how we survive. I think it was a survival thing.
Element of religion in general has always been interesting, you know.
But faith is always based on how many people believe in that. So the more people who believe in it, the better off you are. So if you just procreate and get more people to join your religion, then it works.
Catholics did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
In the 50s and 60s.
They still do.
You had having 6 kids as a Catholic was, like in your family was normal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The right-leaning conservatives are just like, women need to get back in the kitchen and start having babies.
And make that béarnaise sauce.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of having babies, another article I read today was there are people who are having surprise pregnancies when they're on Ozempic or Wegovy or one of those weight loss things. Because, so I was reading this,
Wait, are they taking like birth control or not having, they're...
No, even though they're on birth control and stuff, they're still having pregnancies. It's not like immaculate conception.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say like something's happening with the Ozempic shot.
No. They have a partner that they're having sex with.
New Netflix series.
But because their body is starting to because they lost weight and the body is readjusting back to like their normal levels, it's boosting fertility.
Oh,
so it's like people are having babies even if they've had a miscarriage or something before. They're starting to have it, which now means that they have to get off of that medication and go cold turkey, because usually if you're planning on trying to get pregnant, they try to wean you off for at least 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Before you're completely off of it. Because it's not easy to get off of that medication. It's not good for you. So these women are finding out that they're pregnant and they have to get off the medication right away so it doesn't affect their child.
Yeah, right.
And so, like, people normally when I'm just reading this. I am not a doctor. I'm going to preface this right now. But like the article was saying that, on average, a woman usually puts on between 19 to 30 pounds during pregnancy. Women are finding that they're putting on 65 to 70 pounds after because your appetite's coming back.
Yeah.
And you're just eating everything.
Yeah.
It's
for the baby, Paul.
Yeah, right. You're eating for
the
two.
Paul.
I ate for the baby, and I wasn't pregnant.
That's sympathy eating. But I thought that was so interesting.
That's crazy.
And it's just like, but that also, like, because we were talking about it at work, and one of the girls, her husband is on one of those medications. And it's like, how long do you stay on it? It's not meant to be your whole life kind of thing.
Is it though? I think some people expect it to be that way.
Right, but it's supposed to be to help you get your... Predominantly what it's meant to do is it's supposed to help people with diabetes or pre-diabetes keep from getting diabetes.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's meant to help you lose the weight, get it under control, then you're on your own.
And then you get back off it.
So, I mean, even people who go through, like, some of the more surgical routes for, like, where they do the gastric bypass.
Right.
For many of them, you still have to have a regimented diet. And
Right.
the only added benefit is you kind of feel sick if you eat too much. But people gradually go right back to their, so people who have that and lose a lot of weight, there are certainly a lot of people who it was really successful. But for some, you're getting fat again, and now you have like a tiny, tiny stomach, so you're like stretching the limited organ that you now have.
Yeah, and I also was like, they were talking about stomach paralysis, where like you have like you can't go to the bathroom, so you have like so much stomach pain because it basically stops you from digesting your food, so it kind of just sits there for a while, but so you're not really like creating any waste. So people have it's like it's feast or famine with this. Some people like have diarrhea. Some people can't go at all.
I wish there was Ozempic Light, because I would love just a little curve off the appetite.
I just want a little bit.
I just want a little curve off the appetite.
Can I get just like half a hit?
Help me to stop eating the whole bag of chips and just
I don't need to eat this
cup of chips.
I don't need to eat this whole tub of ice cream.
Yeah,
I just want to eat half of it.
I saw like somebody was singing like an Ozempic song, like making fun of. Not making fun, but like a lot of Hollywood has miraculously been getting skinnier,
right?
And they're all like, "It's been a healthier diet. It's because I cut out the waste or this," and it's like, and the song that's playing is like a song about Ozempic.
Yeah,
there's that, and then there are other drugs that like steroidal drugs and things that are not legal that a lot of these people resort to cut and get bulked up, in movie shape.
I do think it's fascinating that this stuff is like becoming more popular and it's not going away. But as it becomes more like mainstream, it's also going to be crazy to see all this stuff like this pregnancy thing.
But
like, what else is going to happen?
Well, and I thought this was very interesting because I saw this like a couple of weeks ago. But like Kelly Osbourne was talking. I can't remember if it was an interview or a podcast or something, but she was like. Talking about Ozempic and how she takes it, and she's like, people are mad at her, and she's like, well, I'm sorry that you're too poor to afford it.
Oh.
And it's like, that's because you and everyone else in Hollywood has driven up the demand for it. Yeah. Supply has gone down, and people who are supposed to have this medication can't afford it because now it's like $1,200 for one shot. And it's like, and if you have to get this every week, a lot of insurances aren't covering it anymore either.
People pay that for a Beyonce concert.
Yeah, and you're gonna lose a lot of wind at a Beyonce concert because you're like dancing. And
it's like an Ozempic shot going to a Beyonce concert. That was my rationale.
I was randomly picking Beyonce. It was not shade to you.
Oh no, that's about how much I spent. So that's no, but like I also wonder in like the gay community. Because of the crazy standards we put on ourselves. we've had a way to get skinny like for the last like 40 years.
You want to get skinny? Do Coke.
Just
do Coke. It'll get you there a lot faster than Ozempic.
He's not a doctor, people.
Paul's not a doctor. I've never done Coke, but I was prescribed Adderall for a long time.
Adderall is an appetite suppressant.
It was, and I got unhealthily skinny, and so I had to wean off of the Adderall. But I do wonder, like, would Coke do the same thing as Adderall?
When you're on Coke and you do it quite a bit, you just don't feel the need to
anymore.
eat.
Yeah.
So it's like you just don't do it. And
just do chores around the house.
Yeah, you're busy, like keeping busy, and then you're waiting for your next hit.
So there's like, is there's an addictive part of it too?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coke is addictive.
Is Ozempic addictive?
Is what?
No, I don't think so.
Are these weight loss drugs addictive?
It's not the drug itself. It's not addictive. I think it's the fact that you got to where you wanted to be quicker than you have ever before.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of the addiction is like, I want to stay
you
this
got
size.
to go and you don't want to go backwards.
Right.
And you've never done the behavior modification to change, like,
and you haven't put the work in
around food. So as soon as you take away that medicine, you're right back to getting comfort food and eating, the craving of sugar. There's a lot of reasons why people eat.
And the worst part is like being on these weight loss medications, it doesn't help because you lose your appetite completely. So you're only eating like a small bit every other day or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like people don't have a lot of appetite. So because they're not breaking down that food as quickly as they usually do. So it's like, it's not helping you learn how to do it anyway because it's outside of what you normally would do. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
I think that's crazy interesting. And this Ozempic thing is not, it's going to evolve. So I think some of the stuff is going to continue.
Bigger.
And there's other drugs that are kind of getting more refined. So it will continue to, there will be other targeted, now they're saying, like, just like originally Viagra was for something else. It was like blood pressure medicine.
Right.
And they found this side effect, and now there's all these other spin-offs of it,
Can you imagine, like, taking that and, like, nurse, I'm getting an erection. Is that a
Am I supposed to be excited about this? About my blood pressure going down?
I have a pop culture question for you.
Okay.
Have you heard about the Caitlin Clark stuff?
This is a nice way of talking about the disparity amongst female and male athletes.
100%.
Because, like, she's not even making $1 million over 4 years.
Yeah.
Which
it's $333 or something like that, like, over the 4 years.
A third string basketball player on a team in the NBA could make multiple millions over 4 years. And
who did she get recruited to? Or signed to? I know the draft was like Monday.
Yeah.
Hold on.
She got drafted. It was like she will make I think it was like $300 and something thousand over 4 years, which is like $75,000 a year. And it's like she was the like number one draft pick for the WNBA, and it's like she helped create this season.
More importantly, she made that a want to go see.
Right.
Sport,
like her and some others made it like
they generated
important.
This buzz about it that now it's a sport that people legitimately want to watch.
And they're still not getting this financial support that they should, so that they're getting paid what they're worth.
She's going to the Indiana Fever.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Yeah, no,
we knew that because she was on SNL.
No, she hadn't been drafted yet.
It was right. It was like a couple days before, but
that's funny. Did you see her on SNL?
I love that. Yeah. I love that she signed the apron and gave it to Che.
Yeah,
so I've seen a couple of people be like, "Well, she's still getting $3 million in like deals, like sponsorship deals," and I'm like, you're missing the point. So are all of those other people, like
exactly.
they're also getting sponsorship deals. But this disparity is huge, and it's not just like a couple thousands of dollars.
It's multitudes.
It's millions of dollars.
She is getting a third, if not a quarter to an eighth, of what a male basketball player would get in the NBA.
But then you have to look at the other side of that economics, though, is advertising on WNBA historically, like how much did people pay for an ad to so it's income
I also look at it like,
but I think that's changing too,
right? Because 14.2 million people tuned in for that final match,
right?
And I blame media and us as consumers to this as well, because I feel like there's a part of like the people in the boardroom are like, nobody's gonna watch women's sports, and so these numbers that they're like, well, yeah, there's no viewership, there's no that or that. It's because, do you ever see a commercial about the WNBA? Do we ever see like a hype about the WNBA the way that we see the NBA? If they spent a third of the time, those games are fun to watch, and
they're still athletes. They are amazing.
Oh my god,
athletes.
Watching her play, Caitlin Clark, was amazing. Another part of this, and not to like diss on Caitlin Clark, but there's another story that is in collegiate sports about like the undefeated team that I can't remember what school they were from, but like, and they were mainly all like people, women of color that have come up through the ranks and just like kicked ass. What a cool story about like a collegiate team. Did it make the news at all? No, like nobody cares. But these are fun, exciting stories about the sports that I wish that made mainstream.
But it's also, it's hard because that's what they're going to offer you. Is it what you're worth? But you want to make sure that you can get into a team so you can have your career. Yeah. It's hard because like you don't want to say, yes, this is what I'm worth, because that's basically what you're saying, and it's like that's not true. It's but also the worst part is I hate that she's gonna always be seen as a female basketball player.
Yeah, in fact, just a basketball
player. It's just
player.
like when Serena and Venus were always considered the best female tennis players of all time. Right. And it's like, no, they're the best tennis players of all time.
So should we rebrand sports as just like, should it just be the NBA men's league, NBA women's league? Like, do you think
the Republican the right wing?
You are so woke.
Turned over.
I'm too woke.
Don't be spreading your
but I mean,
liberal agenda.
Well, I've always kind of wondered how we like. Have you guys ever watched? Probably not. Like, I watch the women play golf.
I've never watched that.
PGA, women's PGA.
Yeah, I don't even
with
watch
my dad,
PGA.
and it is fun to watch. And so, like, I wish there could be the PGA men's league and the PGA women's league, and we don't. Why does it have to be like? Why is there a W or a ladies or like? We don't do that with the men. Why don't we call it the male NBA?
But you look at a sport, and it's not a pro sport. It's more of a like Olympic sport, like gymnastics, where women's gymnastics gets the same amount of hype that men's gymnastics does.
Totally,
it's just not as there's no season, there's no leagues, there's no team to align with, so it doesn't have the same appeal except during Olympic years.
Just comes down to money, right?
That's groundbreaking because the women's teams are now kind of and it helps in the U.S. because we're very narrow-minded, but it helps that they're really successful on the women's side. So for a lot of years, we put a lot of time and effort supporting and celebrating female gymnastics more than we did men's, because men's were pretty lame, and then all of a sudden the men get better, and now we're like the shiny object changing focus.
I hope that this is a catalyst for change. This Caitlin Clark
I hope so.
phenomenon.
I wish they would also bring back the talk of like changing in the Oscars and other award ceremonies, where it was like there was all this talk about just changing to best actor, but it would be male or female or binary or whatever. I always thought that would be so cool, because it's like, why do we need to separate between best actor and best actress when all of them are amazing actors and they should just go up against each other?
My thought, not to argue that, is because I think it's true. I think more people win right now because they separate. So could there be like we choose the top two? Or I don't know. No. Or maybe just less people win. And you know what?
Yeah, exactly. You have to be better then.
I think that is probably because the men are worried that the women will always be the winners, which is most of the time. I love watching female actresses.
But it also changes the narrative, because it'll be like, just like nowadays when we've gotten much more race conscious or color conscious in nominations, it almost devalues the nomination because people will play to the, oh, well, they just had to get someone of color in there and they didn't pick me.
I hate the world.
It'll see the same bullshit about, you know, trying to give a woman that because I'm a man and they didn't want to be favoring men. You know?
Well, a woman won that, but yeah, it's so stupid. God.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to hit one more thing because we were supposed to do this last week and we didn't. But this whole Momofuku Chili Crunch debacle. Okay, so supposedly,
what's his name again?
David Chang, who owns Momofuku.
Yes,
he actually went on his podcast. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Momofuku puts out a condiment called Chili Crunch.
Momofuku is a restaurant.
And it's a restaurant owned by David Chang, and he has numerous restaurants all over the world, known for their Asian food and bringing Asian flavors more to the forefront of like fine dining as well as just to the
innovation.
Yeah, and then also he helped Christina Tosi came from Momofuku and she created Milk Bar. All right, so they sent out cease and desist letters to a bunch of small businesses who make their own chili crunch.
It's just so gross.
And people are upset because these are all like small mom and pop owned, one person owned businesses, and they were like, "Why are you doing this?" Because he wants to trademark Chili Crunch, and the reason why is because he can't use Chili Crisp because that was already there was another company that did it, been doing it for so long that they're synonymous with that. So he wanted to do Chili Crunch, and so he bought the rights to the trademark for Chili Crunch, but with chili with an E. So he wants to then have chili with an I crunch as his trademark as well. He put in for the trademark and then sent out the cease and desist letters. The reason why is because if you are not seen defending your trademark, the Patent and Trademark Office won't vote in your favor. So he thinks if he does this, he's going to have a better chance at getting that trademark and everything.
But this logic is usually applied when you have a product that is so popular that everybody starts referring to that thing as the brand. Like Kleenex, Escalator, Trampoline. They're all brands that became generic.
Interesting.
So he's trying to go it backwards.
Right. Because he's like, if I do this, then anybody who tries to use that, well, like that's what he wants it to be. He wants Chili Crunch to become synonymous with Momofuku, and it's hard because this is something that it could be almost in every household, and every household is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
So he went on his podcast that he has, and he apologized for sending the cease and desist letters, and they said that they will not be enforcing the
cease and desist.
The cease and desist or doing that anymore, but they didn't say he was pulling the trademark.
Yeah, he's still going for it.
So he's still going to go for it. He's just hoping that it becomes something like what Andy was just saying about how it becomes so generalized that they become synonymous with it. So they have to be seen as the ones who have the trademark.
He's like, oh, sorry, everybody, we're not going to enforce these cease and desist, but guess what? Once I finally get this, every time you have this chili, something similar to this, I'm going to get paid a penny or whatever.
No, it won't. It
won't work
that way.
Okay.
What will happen? What's really happening here is he got so much backlash that he had to back down.
I'm glad to hear.
The Asian community
completely media, bad. You look bad.
Does he know, or do you think like his people did this, and then they were like, "Hey, did you knew? He knew what he was doing."
Because David Chang has kind of a reputation within the food community
being
as being
cutthroat,
kind of a dick. So even though he is a pretty good, he's a great chef. And he has a great business mind,
and he's on.
But this was not a good idea because like people, there were like his. And his one big thing was, whenever he would say it, he would always bring up Trader Joe's. And he was like, that was the big thing because when they came out, before he bought the trademark from Chili Colonial, for Chili Crisp with an E, Chili Colonial actually went up against Trader Joe's because they had their own, and they got them to change it to like crunchy onion something.
And I think that you and we talked about this, but it's like, why doesn't he just branded as like the David Chang or Momofuku brand?
Momofuku Chili Crisp, and that would not be anyone's problem at all. You know, like,
and it'd sell, people would know it, and like put that in the supermarket, and
right, because like now what you've done is created a space where you have bought so much goodwill and PR for these small businesses, which I think is great.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
You know, and it's like...
And the irony of all of that is trademark is all about... The value of a trademark is the goodwill that you have in that brand.
Exactly.
So you basically devalued anything, at least right now, although America's fickle, will change our mind.
Right.
But is there a this is a lawyer Andy question, is there a expiration date on trademarks?
Yeah, they eventually you have to renew them.
You have to, so like if he's
to keep it current,
if he's applying for this, it's not like a forever thing.
But it would be like it goes out a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you also have to be seen defending your trademark as well.
Yeah, you can't not defend, because if you don't defend, then like you can't selectively decide who, and it just leads to genericization.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once you get a trademark, you know it is valuable, and if you build goodwill in something, you don't want someone else taking it.
Sure.
You know, well, Sony was always one that looked at, like, Kobe was a Chinese knockoff brand that used the same font and the same color blue, but they just changed, you know, SONY to COBY, and the standard is likelihood of confusion, and it's props to you, Kobe, because it probably was not that, to confuse, but they were trading on that name, you know.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, like, the pressure was there, and that he kind of was like, okay,
yeah, they had to put out a special episode specifically, but I was also like, you spent 20 minutes, only 20 minutes talking about this, and like he hadn't put out anything else on any of his socials explaining about.
So unless you're
apology.
A podcast listener,
Correct.
There's no like official thing on the website or was released to the news.
If you already think he's a douchebag and won't listen to his podcast, you don't know this.
Yeah, so
except because you listen to us.
Exactly.
We'll have to follow the story, because it sounds like right now it's just lip service.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening to our 150th episode. And I'm sorry that Joe wasn't here.
Toast to Joe.
Toast to Joe.
Cheers.
All right. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Special thanks to Andrew Smith and Nick Stone for producing the show. If you like us, please follow us at tugayspod on Instagram and visit us online at tugayspod.com. You can find us anywhere you can stream podcasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know topics you'd like to hear. And always remember, stay safe, stay classy, stay sassy, and always stay a little bit trashy. See you next week.